I was forced to marry a cold Siabit, shocked to discover he was disguised as a servant in the mansion. Congratulations. You're now the legal property of a man who doesn't even bother to show up to his own wedding. That was the first thing my stepmother said to me as I stood alone in front of a $1,000 floral arch, clutching a marriage certificate signed by a ghost. It was supposed to be a fairy tale, at least that's what I told myself when my father's dying wish was read out loud. Riven shall marry the heir of Hawthorne Enterprises, or forfeit every cent. I was an Omega 23, no career, no money, and with a suppressed scent thanks to pills and shame. Marrying a billionaire beta CEO seemed like a smart way to survive. Until I found myself alone in a 19th century Boston mansion. Signed, sealed, and delivered to a stranger who never even showed his face. His name was Daxton Hawthorne. 42 years old, they said. Cold. Strategic. Too busy making acquisitions to deal with things like lover, apparently. His new spouse. I never even saw a picture. The only instruction left behind was simple. Stay in the East Wing. Do not ask questions. So I obeyed. For 3 days, I roamed the empty marble halls like a ghost, sipping tea with the other ghosts maids who never looked me in the eye, security who moved like shadows, and one man who refused to tell me his name. He wore black and white, a servant uniform, dark hair always neatly combed, hands gloved like he feared leaving fingerprints on the world. But those eyes sharp, stormy gray followed me everywhere. I called him sir the first time we spoke. You're not supposed to be in the greenhouse, he said flatly. I flinched. Then fire me. I would if you worked here. He turned and walked away. From that day, something strange started. I'd find hot tea on my desk when I didn't ask for it. Books in my favorite genres appeared in the library. Once, I tripped down the stairs and he caught me mid-fall, hand on my waist, sending something electric up my spine. You should be more careful, he whispered, his voice lower, something guttural underneath. I didn't know the stairs were booby-trapped, I muttered, staring at him. He blinked, almost smiled, almost. I began waiting for him. I'd sit in places he might pass by the fountain, in the hallway near the kitchens. I started asking questions the other staff refused to answer. Who is he? No one, the maid whispered, eyes darting. Just a man who serves the house. Nothing more. But I wasn't stupid. That man knew every code to every locked door. The staff moved out of his way like he owned the air. I once caught him in the drawing room holding a phone that displayed stock charts. The numbers on it matched the exact rise and fall of Hawthorne stock. Coincidence? No. The breaking point came one stormy night when lightning cracked and I burst into the drawing room, angry and shaking. I want to see my husband, I shouted. I married a name, not a man. Tell me where Daxton is. He stood there, firelight carving shadows across his cheekbones, and said nothing. I crossed the room and slammed my hands on his chest. Do you think this is funny? Locking me in a mansion and pretending I don't matter? I'm not some pawn in a will. I'm a person, a real damn Omega. He flinched. I saw a flicker of pain in his eyes. I didn't ask for this marriage either, he said finally. My blood turned to ice. What? He pulled off his gloves slowly, then unbuttoned the top of his servant's collar, revealing a faint scar. I'm Daxton. I laughed. I actually laughed. That's not funny. He stepped closer. I'm Daxton Hawthorne. I run a multi-billion-dollar company. I wear suits that cost more than your childhood home. But I also clean this fireplace and make your tea, because I wanted to see who you were before the world poisoned you against me. I backed away. So this was all a game? No, he said, eyes pleading. This was survival. He told me everything. How the board at Hawthorne Enterprises didn't believe in mating bonds. How the company's survival depended on a business marriage that wouldn't interfere with profit. So he faked coldness, built a myth around himself. And when my father arranged the marriage, he wanted to see for himself what kind of Omega he was shackled to. So he disguised himself, hid among the help, and watched. I didn't expect you, he said. I expected a spoiled social climber. But I got someone brave enough to scream at a ghost. I wanted to slap him. I wanted to cry. But I also wanted to touch his face. So I did. He leaned into my palm like a man starving. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he whispered. "Just a chance." That night, we didn't sleep. We sat on the floor of the drawing room until morning, trading truths like war stories. I told him about my scent blockers, how I'd spent years hiding from my own biology. He told me about boardroom betrayals and the loneliness of being a king without a kingdom. And when dawn broke, he kissed me. It wasn't fire and thunder. It was slow, painful, like unlocking something sealed behind fear. His lips trembled. Mine did too. The next morning, the staff was dismissed. A press release went out. Daxton Hawthorne takes sabbatical with new spouse. We spent 6 weeks rebuilding something real. Not a contract. Not a strategy. A bond. But the world isn't kind to things that bloom in secret. The paparazzi came. Investors panicked. Rumors spread. The CEO's gone soft. And Omega's manipulating him. The board called a vote to remove him. He flew back to New York to fight. I begged him not to go. "They'll destroy you." He cupped my face. "They can try." 3 days later, I watched him on TV standing in front of his empire and telling the world, "I married an Omega who taught me how to feel. If that's weakness, then I never want to be strong again." He lost the board vote. They ousted him. But when he came home that night, bruised and exhausted, he smiled at me like he'd won everything. And maybe he had, because he dropped to one knee not with a ring, but with a key. "To a cottage in Vermont," he said. "No boardrooms. No disguises. Just us." I cried. We moved the next week. Some nights I still wake up and touch his chest just to make sure he's real. That I didn't marry a myth. That the man who once poured my tea now wakes up every morning whispering, "Mine." Because in the end, I wasn't forced into a marriage. I was delivered into a love I never expected. One I'll fight for every day. Even if it began with a lie. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.